I want to welcome everyone who's here and all those that are joining us online. And would you please join me for the pledge to flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Martin, would you take attendance, please?
We have 6 school board members present tonight. Absent are Mrs. Kapka, Mr. Benigno, and Ms. Trowbridge.
Also in attendance is the superintendent and the administrative cabinet. This is our second meeting of the month where most official votes are taken, many of which are listed on the consent agenda, which includes those items which are routine or have been discussed at our work session last week. Our meetings observe the requirements of the school code, legislative directives, the original Act 84 Sunshine Law, all subsequent amendments, judicial rulings, applicable regulations, and our district policies to the best of our understanding and ability. We're going to put that on the website so I don't have to read it. All agendas and related public documents are posted in the district website. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Board commendations are the first thing on our agenda. Congratulations to Jeff Fisher, class of 23 boys lacrosse player who was named an All-American selection by USA Lacrosse. Fisher, who graduated in June, was one of 8 Lancaster County High School lacrosse players who were honored at the national level. He had also been named a Lancaster Lebanon League First Team All-Stars. Commendations to the following teachers who brought the profile of a CV learner to life by providing a summer enrichment experience for 75-plus students. Jim Hovan, Bethany Hovan, and Liz Carney, who took K-5 students splashing in the stream. Sean Carley, who fostered positive relationships and leadership development by having experienced STEP team members teach and mentor younger students. Jenny Harrington, who spent 2 weeks with our English language learners, strengthening grammar skills through STEM. Stephanie Jackson and Nicole Campbell, who encouraged our learners to listen to stories and become problem solvers through critical thinking STEM activities. Matt Maizana, who introduced flight theory and aviation careers to learners by practicing with drones and a field trip to Smoketown Airport. Matt Mazzano and Carson Miller, who challenged learners both physically and mentally to develop a positive training attitude through wrestling. Thank you to Tim Ardinger, CV's catering manager, for hosting another cooking club this summer. Thank you to Joan Dickel, accounting specialist, for covering the district's payroll duties over the summer months. She has gone above and beyond. Commendations to the team of Sean Campbell, Andy Zellers, Tonya Soto Maria, Jill Stoltzfus, and Emmanuel Lego for welcoming our new hires to the CV School District family. And commendations to Bo Graber, Catherine Watson, Curtis Silverman, Natalie Blanton, Emma Perron, and Hannah Newman, who served on the first year teacher panel to share their enthusiasm and wisdom with the new hires. Sounds like a new year has started well. Superintendent comments, Dr. Hartman.
Sure, good evening. Happy to report my comments will be rather brief tonight, which is a sign that we're getting our vacancies filled. So I'd like to introduce first Carrie Kurtz. Carrie, welcome Carrie. Carrie's going to be an autistic support teacher at the middle school. So she brings a lot of special education experience to us, especially in the area of autism support. She has been an autistic support teacher with IU 13 since 2019. And prior to that, she taught at the Hogan Learning Center in Berks County and with the Reading School District. She has a bachelor's degree in early childhood and special education from Millersville University and her master's in special education from Ball State University. So we're happy to have your experience here with us at CV. Thanks, Carrie. Next, we have Charlene Garner. Charlene will be a middle school English language arts teacher. Charlene has spent the past 6 years teaching in Florida at a couple different school districts down there, I believe, if I remember correctly. She recently relocated to Central PA. She has her bachelor's degree in English from Tusculum College. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Tusculum.
Tusculum College in Tennessee. a master's degree in creative nonfiction from Tampa University, and she's currently enrolled in a doctoral program in English literature and criticism at IUP. So welcome, Charlene. And finally, we have Corey Clark. Corey is a board-certified behavior analyst, and he'll be working primarily at our secondary level at the middle school and high school. Corey has a bachelor's degree in music education from Millersville, has his master's degree in psychology with a specialization in applied behavioral analysis from Capella University, where he's also currently working on his doctorate. He's worked various roles in education, everything from a PCA to a music teacher, and he's served as a behavior consultant and BCBA with both Wellspan, Philhaven, and most recently with the Berks County Intermediate Unit. So we're happy to welcome our 3 new hires this evening. It's a lot easier to read 3 bios than 13 or 14, I think, which was the last 2 meetings. So welcome, everyone.
Yeah, glad to have you for you.
So we're excited to start the school year. We have been able to spend some time the last few days out and about and last week, and now that we have our new folks on board, and we're excited about kicking things off tomorrow and excited about bringing the students back in on Wednesday. I think the buses are ready to go, the buildings look great, and we're ready to rock. So that's my report this evening.
Mrs. Martin, do you have any correspondence?
None.
Are there any comments from board members about district activities? If not, we'll move on to the highlight of the evening, our annual fire report from Mrs. Smith. Yes, sure.
Okay.
Pull up a chair. Oh, no one
Take a
has
chair?
there.
Okay, I'll just pull it here. Good evening.
Good evening.
As she said, my name is Lisa Smith. I am the district-wide Volunteers in Action, or VIA coordinator for Conestoga Valley. A little bit about me. This is my 2nd year as district coordinator, so hopefully it'll be a little smoother. Last year was like all over the place. I was a building coordinator before that at Smoketown for 5 years. I am a Conestoga Valley graduate, 1984, and I graduated with a business degree from Elizabethtown College in 1988. I currently work in the schools mostly at Leola as a lunch lady, so I'm employed by SOS. I have 3 kids. Melena graduated in 2016. She is now a high school social studies teacher in Delaware at Caesar Rodney. Aubrey graduated in 2018. She is at Pennsylvania College of Health Science and works full-time at Chesterbrook Academy. And Michael, he's finally going into middle school, class of 2030. And so he'll be at the new middle school. He's very excited, a little bit nervous, but all the things that they've been doing to get the kids ready has been fabulous. And my administration representative for VIA is Mrs. Mel Upton, and she and I work together to make VIA the best that it can be throughout the district. So up on the screen is page 1 of the hours. Did you get both pages, Marilyn? There was a second page. Okay, we missed this. Okay, that's fine. Those are the hours through February. As you saw,
Scroll up. It's in there.
Is it in
Should
there?
be.
It should be. Yep, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. There's the rest of the school year. As you can see, we are getting back to that pre-pandemic level of 8,500 hours. We're only about 2,000 away now, which I think is really fabulous, that we ended up with 6,255 hours, because last year there were only 4,200. So we're making those jumps to get it back to where it belongs. As I did last year over the summer, I met with all the principals to see what we can do better for them. Do they need anything new added to what we're doing? Do they want to change anything we're doing? I sat with Dr. Hartman and went over how VIA works with him and answered all of his questions. And again, we're still trying to get everybody on the same page with that VIA does this, this, and this in every school. You know, the buildings are kind of like, well, we've been doing this and it's okay. And I'm like, all right, then we'll just, we won't take that one back. But we are taking back laminating at the high school. We're going to free up Mrs. Glick. And she's very excited that we're going to take laminating back at the high school from her, from one of her responsibilities. We are gearing up for picture days. High school picture day is like almost here. Health screenings, back to school nights, I was at several kindergarten orientations and things like that, speaking to parents about VIA, making sure that they knew what we were, but that we're not PTO, that we're completely separate. And I will be continuing to support the 12 building coordinators that I have in any way possible, making sure that they have everything they need. I work with Katie Odell to send emails when we need them. This summer, she and I, you have a copy of our new brochure that is up to date. We needed that, it was 3 years old and a little out of date, so we did that. We will have tables at all the open houses, and we will be sending out an email blast a couple weeks into the school year, let parents kind of get through all that first day stuff. And then let them know that we're here and you can sign up numerous ways to volunteer, just make sure you have your clearances. And Mrs. Upton and I have been talking about doing a vision or a mission statement to include in all our media stuff, so we can encourage more involvement from our parents and grandparents and community members. And we will be discussing this at our monthly VIA meetings with the building coordinators, because they have some of the best ideas. They have a lot more ideas than what I can come up with most of the time. So, and that's the other thing, you all have in front of you, I believe you have the outline for this evening for what I was gonna speak to you on, and then you also have a list with all of our monthly meetings. And we would love to have you, and just a reminder, the breakfast is in April again, and we would love to have you there as well. That's it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Dr. Gibbs,
Thank you.
Anybody?
we can't thank you enough for the work all your people do.
Thank you.
It's appreciated from everyone, from the board, staff, support, the administrators.
We do our best to try and make it
I love your
easier
shirts.
for everybody.
Do most of your people tend to wear it in the office?
Yeah, we tell them when there's an event like picture day, health screening day, open houses,
Okay.
to please wear them, because then everybody who comes in knows. I had mine on at Cruise the Halls for the middle school because I was working the table. But then when I was out cruising with my son, people came up and were like, "Can you tell me, where do I find?" And luckily I did have most of the answers.
VI,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
CV.
Well, it says CV though too, and they're like,
Yeah.
they saw the word district coordinator and thought I was more than what I was, which is okay, I'll just do my best, and I directed them where they needed to go to get their
Appreciate
answers
that.
that I couldn't provide, so,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any comments from CBEA this evening? Or other employee groups? Anyone that would like to make a public comment about something on the agenda? In that case, we'll move to the consent agenda, which consists of items A through O. Are there any concerns or questions before we get there?
I had a couple of quick questions on I, on the approval of transportation contracts. So, assuming this is paying because they're providing the busing
Yes.
or transportation, is there a reason Weaver Town's a different amount per student than the other?
I think that's worked out depending upon type of vehicle they have.
Okay, that, I was just curious, because all the other ones were exactly the same, that one was different. Then also on the faithful transportation one on, actually, I think I did write it down, didn't I? Number 4, the compensation, yeah. It says the cost will be set forth in Exhibit A unless the price of gasoline for the contractor exceeds $4, $5 per gallon. Which is it?
When they're driving a full-size bus, that can be,
Well, I'm saying it says $4 and then in parentheses $5.
You should say 4.
Like, which is the,
probably at both levels that will be looked at.
No,
like,
That's what I took it to be, we visited, went to
I-
$4.
was wondering that also one's diesel gas, but I would thought it would have said, and then all the other amounts in the contract, it would say, it would spell out the number and then get the correct number in parentheses.
I think it's a typo.
It's a typo. It's an error.
Do you know which it's supposed, just out of curiosity, I mean, gas is almost $4 a gallon right now, so what happens when it goes over that then?
I don't know if I can get clarification for you for next month.
Okay, I was just curious.
If it goes over that, I don't think teachers can afford to drive to work.
I mean, another 10 cents and it's gonna be over 4.
Yeah,
So if it's supposed to be 4 or if it's supposed to be 5,
It looks like a typo.
okay,
right?
We'll clarify.
Anything else?
Okay. Other than that, no.
I will just bring your attention to the fact that if you reread the contract with the land bank, that was fixed to make sure that
Yep.
we're accommodated. If there are no other questions, I'll take a motion to approve items A through L.
Motion to approve items A through F.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mr. Gilman?
Aye.
Mr. Talon?
Aye.
Mr. Hurst?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff?
Aye. Dr. Tozer is going to get us up to date on pre-K counts.
Good evening. Okay, you see 3 agreements on the agenda this evening. We are excited to be able to bring these to the board. As you know, we did receive our full 88 slots for Conestoga Valley. We are the lead agency, so what we do is we partner with Steps to Success, who will have 72 of those slots that will be operating in our schools. We have Lancaster Mennonite School. We serve as their lead agency, so they have 16 slots that are happening at their campus. And then Owl Hill is a lead agency. We are their partner for the Smoketown classrooms. So you see the 3 agreements here. 2 of them are the money's coming to us, and we're working with LMS and Steps to Success. 1, the money is coming to them, and they're implementing the program at Smoketown Elementary. So all 3 are partnership agreements that we are seeking approval for this evening, so we can get the program up, ready, and launched. We did receive the award about a week ago, so we are looking at a September 5th start. We're gonna bring the K-5 in, get everybody situated, and then the Tuesday after Labor Day, we would start our pre-K programming.
Questions? I did field a few questions from the board members that aren't here. At some point in the future, I think we'd like to get an idea of how our pre-K offers are organized and funded. I think at some point, we tend to think of K through 12 and not realize that pre-K is in a completely different world because it's not required, not funded the way the rest are. So perhaps sometime we'll think about addressing that for us.
Absolutely, I would be happy to. You'll have to give me a time limit, though.
What's that?
There we go, but you'll have to tell me 10 minutes, that's it, because
Oh.
you know
Oh.
I will talk about
I
this
definitely
all
will give you that
evening.
kind of
Yes,
guidance.
yes.
Well, we've been working and talking with Dr. What's your name?
Hartman Board.
Hartman. I try so hard not to go retro and can't stay in the present. Have the board understand curriculum organization in general, and I don't want pre-K to get mixed up with the rest of it. But
Yeah.
we'll let you know. I just wanted to give you a
Sounds
heads up
good,
with that.
that's great.
If there are no other questions, I will take a motion to approve the pre-K counts partnerships.
I'm just gonna jump in right now and say that there are so many connections to make with the pre-K and the K through 12. So again, Jill could go on and on, I'm sure. And I just wanna say, I don't know that anyone else really realizes what happened here, just as far as just the breadth of opportunity that we're giving our families and our community right now. So thank you, Jill.
Yeah, I
Appreciate it.
appreciate
It's a lot
that,
of work.
thank you.
A lot of work.
Do our families recognize that?
I think so. We have had, just as I shared before, an overwhelming response to this. I mean, we are ready to launch over 100 slots on September 5th. It took us a week to completely fill the program, and it has been, it is truly an unmet need in this area, and We've just had phenomenal response. And again, this is just the income eligible program. If we ever want to dabble in some additional opportunities to expand that out, I think there would be even more of an interest.
And the only reason I asked, Diane, is because I don't realize
Yeah, yeah.
what it entirely means.
Mhm.
So if it's a bright star
Mhm.
that we can point to and tell for CV,
It
We
absolutely
should.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're only the second school district in this county that has a pre-K program now in their elementary schools.
May I ask, do we have no one on the waiting list?
We just added a student yesterday, so we're already starting to build the waiting list back now.
I think one of the things that also tells is that the public in general, new parents, are starting to realize how important early readiness is.
Mhm.
Because there was a time when you'd have to convince them to put their children in, but now I think they appreciate it.
It's
I
just-
didn't realize we were one of the two.
Mhm.
That is
School
something
District
special.
Lancaster and Conestoga Valley.
are we adequately giving everybody kudos for putting it in place?
Again, I don't think that anybody really realizes all the
Yeah.
work that took, Jill. Like, I know just because I understand the behind the scenes situation, but to answer that question directly, no.
How do we do that?
It's probably worth an LFP
Consider
article
yourself-
or
Mhm.
something
Consider
of that
yourself
nature.
We
Yeah.
have a press release ready to go out that we're hoping, we'd love to see a story picked up on WGAL. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
really big deal, yeah.
And it'd be nice if we could convince other districts to do it too, or is it because the grants are so limited?
No, Lancaster County actually is in this round of pre-K counts, they have identified Lancaster County as one of the greatest unmet need areas in the state of Pennsylvania. And so they had actually allocated a lot more slots to the county as a whole because that need has grown so much since the last time they did a rebid at the state level. So I mean, it's a big feat to be able to bring this many in, but it's been such a cooperative, I mean, truly, it's been a lot to coordinate, but all of our departments here in CV, like, that's what's made it so special is everyone has just said, yeah, let's do it. Let's figure out, let's do what's best for families. Let's make it work. Our principals have found spaces in buildings, facilities. I mean, we could do a whole board commendations on all the people who have, Ken Johnson's over at Chesterbrook with a truck full of crates to move all the little tables and chairs out at the beginning of summer. It's just been an awesome effort from the whole team to see this happen.
That's very
The
nice of you to say, and I don't disagree with that, but you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Thank you.
As I said, consider yourself kudos.
Thank you.
The success by six, still get involved in these things?
So the United Way has, when COVID happened, they shifted a little bit and pivoted on some of those pieces. So the collective impact work that they had done, Success by Six, some of our early learning initiatives, it's just, they've taken a little bit of a change in how they're funding those projects. So right now, it's really through that First 10 network, that
Okay.
community action partnership actually convenes for Lancaster County. So CAP of Lancaster is the convening group now of bringing all of the early learning partners together. And a lot of those, they are districts for sure. School districts are at the table. And Owl Hill, for example, has classrooms at Hempfield, at LS. So they have a partner agency that runs the classrooms, but as far as the district being the lead agency, that's where we're really leading the pack in that way.
Okay. We need a vote.
Oh yeah, motion to approve the contracts, the 3 contracts presented.
Second.
We have roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Mr. Talon? Mr. Hurst?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff?
Aye. Thank you.
Okay? Come out and visit the tinies.
We will.
Just give us like a week or two, okay?
Dr. Mann, math curriculum.
Good evening, everyone. Last week I brought to to you a contract with Desmos, the math curriculum, which you approved. And you had mentioned about we were waiting on this contract from the IU.
Yeah.
What we are proposing here is to contract with them for 20 days over the course of the year to continue supporting our math efforts, specifically at the middle school and at the high school, as we continue to work on the curriculum, implementing Desmos, and unpacking the various assessments as we move forward. So I'm looking for approval for this tonight so we can continue this work.
Okay. Questions? If not, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve the math contract for IU 13, is that just what you need?
Scope of work.
Yeah.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Mr. Hurst?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mr. Gilman?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff?
Aye. Well, I'm giving people a heads
Thank you.
up. I've also had actually 2 board members that would like us at some point. We've asked Dr. Hartman to provide us with a better organizational chart so we understand who's where and what all the titles are. But they feel the same way about curriculum. At some point, we're going to be asking for an overview of the K through 12, just what all our programs are and what
Right.
they're under.
One of the nice things with the work we just started with the J. McTighe group and using EduPlanet, we showed you that public-facing portion of that program, which will give the people a nice overview.
Yeah.
But you would want more than that. But so we are moving in that direction, make sure that we are putting all that out in front. But absolutely.
We would like, from what I've been asked questions in the last couple of weeks, we'd like sort of a 2-pronged approach. One being how the district organizes curriculum, and the other being what programs are where. We keep hearing about these programs, and at one point I think we get lost in them all.
Absolutely.
Don't stay up night putting this together, but at some point.
We will. Yes.
That's when we do our best work.
That's right.
That might be a good retreat topic.
Excuse me?
That might be a good retreat topic.
Oh, I've got a whole list of good retreat topics. But
Awesome.
yes, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Hartman, student handbook revisions.
Sure, so this agenda item really came out of a really positive, proactive meeting that Dr. Mann and myself had with the high school administration. Being that the high school administration's a relatively new team, they reached out to us about just having a meeting before the school year begins to really review the code of conduct for student discipline and to just make sure we have consistency in some of our practices. And so as a byproduct of that, one of the things we noticed is if you recall when the student code of conduct or the student handbook was approved for the upcoming school year, the student code of conduct looked a little bit different this year than it has in previous years because of a lot of the PBIS initiatives that are going on in the district. And there's some work with some outside consultants on that. And so as a byproduct of that, there's now a new decision-making chart that's been adopted, it's been school board approved as part of the student code of conduct that really lays out for parents a list of potential behaviors or infractions, as well as required action on the part of the school, as well as supplemental action on the part of the school. In that chart, it has numbers listed which correspond with a code for a list of potential consequences or actions that the school could take based on their behavior. PA code requires that if you're going to discipline students, whether it be detention, suspension, expulsion, you have to, students or parents and students have to be made aware that rule is indeed a rule or that violation is indeed a violation, and B, that the consequence you're giving is a potential consequence for that behavior. So going through that chart, because the high school reached out to us about meeting, we just noticed an oversight in that, and that was that none of the PIMS reportable offenses that are listed in there had the code for expulsion listed as a potential outcome. So for example, infractions such as terroristic threats, aggravated assault, pretty serious infractions that under the PO code may in fact lead to expulsion. We weren't, the way our handbook was laid out due to some of the changes this year, didn't indicate to parents that expulsion could be a potential consequence of those infractions. So we caught it, it was a good catch, and it was a result of the high school wanting to be proactive and meet and get on the same page. So I give a lot of credit to the high school, Dr. Fox and the high school team. And luckily, handbooks have not been distributed to students yet, and school year has not begun yet, so we have time to make that revision, to make it right before it gets sent off and parents sign off on the handbook for the year.
Okay, questions? Then I will take a motion to approve the student handbook discipline changes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? I promised you I'd try to do that. That moves it down to the information agenda. Are there any concerns on the finance and operations reports, curriculum and instruction? Are there any federal funds? Then we're down to board reports. The PSBA report, I think pretty much speaks for itself. I did want to add one thing to the IU report. As much as we struggle to make sure we're fully staffed, the IU struggles twice as much. Because sometimes you have a classroom where they have a teacher, but each student has 2 PCAs and a couple of other support people, behavior supports. And that's where we can't fill it in. It's not just finding people who could do the job, finding people that are willing to do that kind of work. And I think I mentioned before that if they cannot fill the required staffing, then they have to take less students. And you know what happens to those students? They're our responsibility. So if they can't find support for these students, and we can't find support for these students, we have a very serious problem here. Because legally, these are services these children must have. So it's just to give you sort of a heads up as to where we might be heading and the responsibilities that everyone's trying to take to make sure that these children get everything that they deserve. And I think that's about it. It's anything special. The CPC, what's happening over there?
But we didn't meet at all over the summer of July or anything. So we have a meeting Thursdays, which we're supposed to be getting a lot of information, so.
Oh, that's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, good report for you next month, but
Okay.
pending Thursday
Okay.
meeting.
Construction team update.
Did they end up having that meeting, or did they end up canceling? I can't remember. The one last week.
That last week's was postponed.
It was postponed.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause I was, the only way.
We
Yeah,
haven't
2 or
had a
3.
meeting?
no, and the list that we got sent was kind of your standard areas of completion happening in the middle school. It is nice to see that interior of the vestibule or whatever you'd call that, the glass area in the middle school with the floor and the dinosaur and all the stuff. It's looking the way it should have at the start of last school year, but here we are and it looks nice. So I know they got a lot of positive reports with some of the kids that had gone through there, and parents that had gone in to get iPads and stuff like that. A lot of them were making nice comments about it,
Oh,
so
good.
that's nice to hear this year.
Any other reports? Is anything from CBF? Did they meet yet, or that's coming up?
That's, why can't I not remember the date right now? I should have known you were gonna ask me about that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll have to look at the email. I think it's coming up yet. It's right here at the end of the month. Yeah.
Are there any public comments about anything on or off the agenda? Are there any board matters that a board member would like to bring up? Well, then the dates for next month are on your agenda, and I will take a motion to adjourn to executive session for personnel and legal reasons.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.